What's going on, everyone? So, welcome to the latest live stream. This is, of course, part of our series where the three of us, we somehow, some way created a top 100 films. We each provided our top 100, and then we collectively came up with this top 100. We're going in alphabetical order, which means, of course, that we are doing now Citizen Kane, which is a 1941 film that came out during a period of time that was interesting, to say the least, in the world of cinema. But I wanted to first say outright that Citizen Kane is a film that is following the death of a publishing tycoon named Charles Foster Kane, and reporters scrambled to uncover the meaning of his final utterance of Rosebud. So first and foremost, I just wanted to say that going into this live stream, I thought that Marv was going to hate this movie. And Marv, did you like this movie?
No.
Flip the tables. What you thought he wrote on Letterboxd was not true.
I thought you gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd.
I gave it a 5 out of 5 because I can respect its place in history and what it's done for film, and I could appreciate what it was trying to say.
But not 2001: Space Odyssey.
No, that movie's garbage.
That has a place in the history in cinema.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Actually, it's funny because I know, Sergey, you saw my review, but I'll put this out there. So what I said at the end of my review was, if you love films, I want to be educated on it as an art form, not entertainment, as an art form. Then I have 5 films that I deem to be the most important films ever made in the 20th century to view, specifically when it comes to filmmaking, techniques, history, and analysis. 5 films were 1, Citizen Kane; 2, Lawrence of Arabia; 3, Marv's favorite, 2001: A Space Odyssey; 4, The Godfather; and 5, Apocalypse Now. Those are the 5 films I personally like. When I think of films that I would show someone, if someone was like, so what is film? Those are the 5 films that I would show them. I immediately wanted to also mention that I wasn't really familiar with the film until I got this book at Disney World, R.I.P. Great Movie Ride. This was number 2, I believe, on this book. And so, of course, I immediately watched it, and I'll never forget watching it with my family. They're like, what is this? And I was just kind of beside myself because I'm like, we watch old films all the time, like 40s and 50s, and you don't like Citizen Kane? I immediately was enamored with the film. Like, I fell in love with it. I just couldn't get over all the techniques that were used, and it just felt so refreshing. Like, in many ways, it does feel like a modern film, just with a lot of the stuff that they use, such as like the deep focus, the shot with, of course, Charles Foster Kane with his sled in the background. You see far back, and then you see his parents talking. That's something that we take for granted now, but up until that point, that was something that wasn't really, something that occurred, unfortunately. But Sergey, when did you come across Citizen Kane?
It wasn't that long ago. Probably like 4 or 5 years ago. It was a film that I was like, I didn't know if I was ready to watch it because I knew there was so many people that loved it, and I thought I might not, enjoy it or not or whatnot. And I thought it was a great first time watch. Like, when you know nothing, it's actually like really interesting and just a fascinating character study because you're kind of with the people that are like, you're following people that didn't know him as a person, and you're kind of trying to piece his life together. And because he was so attached to his work, and nobody really got to see who he really was. And you're just slowly finding that out as you go along. And I thought it was just a fascinating study. This go around, the resemblance of certain people in office definitely like popped in my head. I'm like, yeah.
Which we will definitely be talking about 100%. There's no way around that part. Like,
I thought the lighting was really cool. I really like the smoke and like shadow kind of look to the whole movie.
Usage of mirrors.
Yeah. The first like 12 minutes when I first watched it, I was like, what is going on? I hope the movie's not like this. But I get why they did it. It makes sense. And it's kind of sad that that's how his life was like wrapped up in a nutshell in like just a couple of minutes. Like, this is all we know him for.
Mm-hmm. And also what I love is, as you guys all know, I'm all about show, don't tell. But those first 12 minutes, what they do is they set they set you up for what you think you're going to get, but what you're actually getting is a deep dive study where you feel as if you're a fly on the wall experiencing these events and you're seeing all the different viewpoints. I think extremely well because of the writing. Orson Welles did manage to actually win best screenplay for this film, rightfully so, but it's incredible with how well developed these characters are. And I am also enamored with the fact that this was a debut film. This was Orson Welles' first film at age 26, and he did such an incredible job. It is actually insane. But I don't know if you guys know the behind the scenes of this film, and I went down the rabbit hole. Have you guys heard of someone named? Let me pull this up. I have heard this name before, but have you guys heard of William Randolph Hearst?
No. Was he in Mank? Did they cover him in that movie?
A little bit, yes, because he was very much so angered by this film. Because essentially what happened was Citizen Kane was a film that was based on this guy's life. He was someone that got America into a war. He's someone that was very much so in the newspaper business and tried to oftentimes smear individuals that he didn't like on a personal level. And that's one of the reasons why he bought up newspaper stands and everything. And again, this is one of those instances where newspapers were getting bigger and bigger during this time, so it was very crucial. So he was actually doing a smear campaign of Orson Welles, and he tried to bury this film. This was a film that wasn't really shown in many theaters because of that, and it's why it only won one Oscar at the Academy Awards. How Green Was My Valley ended up, of course, sweeping the ceremony, but that's something I found fascinating, was that there was a lot of wheeling, dealing, and the ironic part is that he wasn't happy with his portrayal because he hadn't even seen the movie up until that point, but he was so worried about it that most people kind of forget about him only with this movie. And this movie has endured, of course, 85 years later, but he is someone that's been kind of forgotten with time. So it's very, I think, fascinating in that front. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I wasn't sure if you guys knew about it. I wanted to also mention, because we haven't done this before, but I have the story of Citizen Kane up. And I think that this would be something cool to do, where it's like we go almost scene by scene. Of course, I'm going to put the spoiler warning up now. So we mentioned briefly about the 12 minutes where they're wrapping things up, and they have the voice where it's like, "Oh, news on the march," which was something that
it's like watching Gold Rush. I think it was.
Yeah, where they
edited version. We're up on the mountains. We're sounding like Goofy.
Well, honestly, that's why part of me is glad that you watched like the first 10 minutes of Gold Rush, like the recut version, because that was how they used to do like newsreels. They would play like these either short films or newsreels before movies back then, instead of like trailers. So it was very fascinating that they pretty much did a reel of this guy's life. And as they even say in this movie, how can you sum up one man's life in the span of like 10 minutes? You can't, because there's so many complexities.
They didn't really know the person. They interviewed like 3 people, and they kind of knew some moments in his life, but they didn't really know him personally. He never shared that.
And they didn't know the context either. Like a lot of important moments that occurred, they didn't know his backstory, because he kept it, like close to his chest at all times. And we have spoiler alert up, so I can talk a little bit about this. But that snow globe, like the scene where he drops it, and you see, of course, the reflection of like the maid, and he says like the rosebud. It's pretty amazing how in the first 5 minutes, not only do you know you're in the hands of like an auteur, but it really tells you everything that you kind of need to know, where it's like snow plays a big part because that was a very traumatic event in his life. It was a full circle moment because he was literally thinking about a moment that changed his life forever. And at the same time, that event is something that we can talk about more, later on. But that event was something that his life would have been a lot different if he hadn't gone away.
Well, you could thank his parents for that.
Yeah, well, because his dad was abusive, so that I really do wonder, like, would he have been a coal miner? Would he have been, like a small time newspaper man maybe in this town? I don't know, but
would he be happy though? Maybe he would have died in the mines. Plus, people who worked on those mines, they didn't live that long. I mean, people in general
I
didn't
think it
live
was like
that long.
25, 30 because of you would get lung like in the lungs.
Yeah. So,
My grandparents, they worked in like coal mining towns, so I remember hearing stories when I was younger about that, and yep, just glad I'm not involved.
He needed therapy, and he didn't get therapy.
Yeah, and also it's very interesting breaking down the family dynamics, even though you only have a couple minutes, but it tells you enough where the mom knows that there's a problem, but instead of addressing it, and to be fair, they couldn't really address it during that time period. It was a lot different 85 years ago. But they just, they put him off on a bus. Hey, we'll make you rich and everything.
A better opportunity for you. So
yeah. And in theory, yeah. I mean, she got him out of an abusive situation. But at the same time, he was also in turn raised by someone that all he knew was money. And that also is a form of abuse, just on a different kind of scale. But so we talked about the newsreel. Then of course they started talking about Rosebud. Like at the end of the reel, they were talking about, hey, what's this Rosebud mean? Like, is it an ex-girlfriend? Is it something important like in his life? And then they of course are interviewing people, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm still blown away. And Nicolette came in during one of the scenes, and I was like, isn't this pretty impressive? Like the makeup in this film is insane. Like with how they're able to age up people and then also de-age people, it's incredible. Marv, what did you think about it? Like, did you notice it at all?
About Rosebud?
No, about like the makeup and everything.
Not really, no.
Not really? Oh, okay. What about you, Sergey?
I noticed that. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought they would maybe have like other actors, but I mean, I guess it's not.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because I feel like that also showed like the versatile nature of Orson Welles, because I thought he played an old guy really well, like with his motion and everything.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of like Robert De Niro in what's it called, The Irishman, like the way he walked, and I'm like, this dude's 25 and yet he's able to pull it off really well.
Yeah.
So they're interviewing his his ex-friend, and then also his second wife, which is Susan Alexander Kane.
Okay.
And that I thought was interesting because
that was also an abusive relationship.
Yeah. I mean, all because of a toothache. It all started because of a toothache, because he was lonely, and
now he's forcing her to have a singing career.
Yeah, which also going back to the parallels between Citizen Kane and Hearst. Apparently, that was something also Hearst did in real life. So it's one of those things where, again, if you were in 1941, it's like, oh, this is something that's quite apparent. But when people say, oh, politics have been in movies for the last 5 years, I always use Citizen Kane as an example where it's like, nah, it's been around since the beginning of cinema. Literally, I did a binge watch of films from like the 1890s and early 1900s. And it's like, it's there. It's always been there. Art and politics always go hand in hand. And this film, it's tackling politics. It's tackling the newspaper business, which goes hand in hand with that. It's tackling interrelationships with one another and the complexity of it. And it's also talking about, on the wider scale, of what does it mean to be human? Is it, what you do in your life? Is it the people you affect? And I think in some ways it can go very well with the pairing of It's a Wonderful Life, because that's another film that's delving into what's the impact of you as a person. What, do you have an effect on other people? Loneliness, depression, because I think both films do a great job of depicting that. And if you look at the context, both films were around World War II. I mean, Citizen Kane was in the midst of it, and then actually not in the midst of it. It was right as it was starting in America, of course. Around the world. Just I want to make it clear, around the world it had already started, but
it's
in America,
funny. It's set. What is it? It's shot in 1941, right? And they were right. War is about to start. It's like, and during the movie, they're like, there's not going to be any war anytime soon. There's no world wars. I'm like, oh, wait a couple of years.
They're like, yeah, just wait a bit. Just wait a bit. America's going to catch up. And then It's a Wonderful Life. One of the big things is James Stewart. He wasn't sure if he wasn't sure if he had the chops after World War II because he enlisted and everything. And It's a Wonderful Life had such a big impact on him, and it revigorated his want to continue doing it. So that's another thing to I don't know think about. Let's see. Marv, what did you think of Susan Alexander Kane, his second wife? I want the Marv take. I'm very curious about this.
I just felt bad for her. Is that the one who felt bad? I mean, well, not felt bad, but the one he made.
Sing.
Yeah, I just felt bad for her, and I just thought that she should have left him. But like you said, it was the 1941. Probably, it was 1941. It probably, what the hell? Hold on, sorry. But it's 1941, so I felt like it was probably a time where if you have a man who's giving you luxury and I guess status, you can't really leave him. Like, how can you really? You can't really say no to that. And I guess if I was using my modern mind, I would say, yeah, girl, you got to stay with him. But when I looked at the dynamic, it's just sad because he's making her do it only for his. What's the word I'm looking for? He's
Well,
making her.
she's becoming a renowned singer that's being recognized by the whole world, or from what it seemed like.
But
Well,
She's making
she didn't
headlines.
like it. She didn't like doing it.
A detail I picked up on this time around is when he gets caught in the love nest, they put in the quotes singer. He wanted to change that from not quote singer to like, oh, she's an actual singer. It was a way of kind of like sticking it to the media, if you will. And I think his friend actually does mention that too towards the end of the film, which
That
checks
sucks.
out.
That's sad.
It
That's the one
is. I mean,
getting a bad review about him.
that I thought was very interesting because when he had him like continue the bad review, I was like, buddy, you're making a point. I understand you don't have half measures, which this is also a film that definitely inspired Breaking Bad, in my opinion. He doesn't do half measures, and that's why he had him continue doing it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're going to create a lot of hardship because your wife is not going to like this, buddy.
This sucks. That really sucks.
It does, and I think this is a good segue into the rather large orange elephant in the room. So, Marv, what's your takeaway with the two wives?
Well, so I think personally that it goes back to I guess the core. No, I guess not the core, but one of the core ideas is that he's not looking for. At least that's how I read it. He's not looking for intimacy. He's looking for admiration. So it's almost like I don't know if he would call them trophies, but it's like he wants to be seen having them. Hold on, what are you laughing about? Am I wrong?
I mean, that's very fitting about the trophies right now.
Why?
Trophies, Nobel Peace Prizes.
What you mean? What happened?
Oh, you haven't heard, Marv?
No.
Oh, sorry, I'll let you take this away because I'll be talking about the orange man and the orange elephant in the room in a little bit. So you take this away.
Trump is the new recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize.
For what?
Not for anything, just people are giving him awards for no reason.
FIFA gave him one.
Yeah.
The World Cup. Yeah.
Wow. That's funny. But
yeah. And he's so butthurt about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize that he's obsessed.
Anyway.
He doesn't need it, but he thinks he deserved it, and he stopped 8 wars, so he deserves 8 trophies.
That's insane. But I think that I don't know if I would but I don't know if I would compare him to Donald Trump. I know that you guys are, but I guess because I got this.
Guess what his favorite movie is, Marv?
You already told me it's this one.
So not just that, but and this is, I know you don't like the term Marv, but this isn't even film criticism with his statement. It's just like bad media literacy. So his takeaway with the movie is that his wives, Charles Foster Kane, ultimately held him back and that he should have chosen a better wife and that would have made him happy and made him more rich. But when you watch the film visually, you can clearly tell that the man had a lot of riches. In fact, they even made a whole newsreel 12 minutes long explaining how rich he is. Like, he had so much land, he had so many statues, but that's not enough for him.
He had his own like fictitious land, called it Xanadu or whatever it was.
Yeah, which
This reminds me of Drake so much. Like you guys, it reminds you of Trump so much, but it just reminds me of Drake so much because Drake's house is called the Embassy. It's $100 million house. He has another $15 million ranch in Houston. He sleeps with different women every night. He has his own airplane. Not just him, also a lot of different guys. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather has a watch, and it's $18 million. And I'm just like, and he burns money.
Another thing, Marv. I'll be honest. I'm ignorant to Drake's upbringing, but the upbringing of Charles Foster Kane and Trump are very similar. So Trump was the son of Fred Trump, which I'm sure you're not really familiar with. That's fine. You've seen the TV show Watchmen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So remember the guy in, I think it was episode 6. It was the one that was like mostly black and white. I'm not going to spoil it for you, Sergey, but remember the guy that was burning buildings down?
The black one?
No,
I forgot then.
Okay, it was a white guy. The guy that was like the Cyclops, remember?
The guy who was who had a weird affair with the black dude?
No, we'll talk off to the side. But anyways, the person that I'm referring to in that was based off of Fred Trump. Fred Trump was someone that was known in New York as being a member of like the KKK and being like affiliated with them. Anyways, my point is that he was someone that wasn't the best father figure. He wasn't really in Trump's life a lot other than make money, make money, make money. So, as much as I criticize Trump, I also admit that he's someone that he didn't have a childhood. He was grown up to be someone that had to make money, make money, make money. So he didn't have a childhood. Same way Charles Foster Kane didn't have a childhood. And I'm not saying that when Trump dies that he's going to have like a snow globe, right before he dies. But I am saying that he's someone that very clearly was morphed into the American dream, capitalism, and like where money is king. Money is what rules your life. And it's like, yeah, money has its place. Money is important, but it shouldn't be the end all be all. And that's one of the big similarities between the two of them. And that's why
they were both in politics.
Both in politics.
He was governor and he's president. But yeah.
Yes. Both went into politics. Both were individuals that had an excess of money. Had a bunch of wives, didn't work out. Now, one thing I will say is Charles Foster Kane, they weren't really able to go into this. I don't know about Hearst in this regard, but there was the Hays Code in effect during Citizen Kane, so they probably couldn't have gone into in depth, with maybe Hearst's other wrongdoings. But I don't know. I think the parallels are very much so in line that I just think it's fascinating. I mean, it's one of the reasons why The Apprentice has the Citizen Kane poster in the background, because it was his favorite movie. But
will he have his Rosebud moment?
That's what I'm curious about. And it's funny you mentioned it, though, Sergey, because similar to Charles Foster Kane, the whole film is showcasing how everyone has like a different take on him. There's people that loved him, people that hated him. It's kind of like Trump. There are a lot of people. I mean, for crying out loud, there's literally a whole hat brand of his. So it's like there's definitely people that love him, but then there's also people that hate him, and then there's some people that are kind of in the middle. And it's like, who is this guy? Is this someone that is godlike the way some people like to perceive, or is he someone that at the end of the day is still kind of like a little boy that wants to be loved and just isn't, because he has so much division? So I don't know. It's very interesting thinking about him while watching this movie. What was your takeaway? Because I remember you said that you couldn't help but think about him while watching the movie.
I mean, yeah, I instantly thought of him because he's like growing up in such like a cold environment where he wasn't loved, and he's just putting money to hide his true feelings, and he thinks he can, I guess his success, he's always trying to go for like something higher, go from just making money. Now he's going into politics. He's just keeps climbing the ladder, and that's the ladder to success is going to buy his happiness, and it's not working out for him. And I just think of Trump, when I watched it, is I remember him as like a reality guy. I would actually watch that show, The Apprentice, and I was like, oh, he's a funny guy, just like it's an entertaining watch. And then it's like where he was and where he is now, just couldn't help but notice the climbing of the ladder kind of situation. And obviously watching The Apprentice kind of, whether Trump approves it or not, how realistic it is or whatever, just kind of gave more humanity to him, which is what you feel when you watch this movie. At the end of the movie, you feel some humanity for the person and why he was the way he was. And I don't know if we'll get that with Trump, though.
Well, it's funny you mention that, with how even though Trump hadn't seen The Apprentice, he criticized it and said it wasn't accurate, even though it was made by a journalist who went through a very rigorous process. I mean, they kind of have to, that's their job. But Hearst did the same thing when Citizen Kane came out. He didn't see it yet, but he literally criticized it and said, like, it's not accurate to my life and everything. I don't know if he ever actually saw it. I would have to do more research about that, but it is kind of funny, the parallels. And yeah, as you said, The Apprentice, that was a film that humanized Trump. It's a film that made you understand where he was coming from, how he came to be, even if you weren't someone that said like, oh yeah, this is a great guy. It's still like, okay, I understand where he's coming from. Sebastian Stan did an amazing job. What a performance. Let's talk, in terms of Citizen Kane, let's talk about, I mentioned deep focus cinematography. I know, Sergey, you mentioned the lighting. How about those shadows? Those were amazing. Like,
it felt like a noir movie.
So good. Marv, did you watch it on streaming, or how did you watch this Citizen Kane?
I watched it on YouTube.
He watched it in color.
Chad, what shadows? The color completely removed the shadows. No, I really couldn't imagine this in color, to be honest. Like, if this ever, and knock on wood, I hope it never happens, but if this ever got remade, I could not imagine this in color. I really couldn't.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Rosebud, it'd be Toshiba or something. It's just like it would totally lose all like sense of what is this.
It's similar to I know you two haven't seen it, but it's similar to like Psycho. Psycho worked so well because they chose to shoot on black and white. Now, of course, for budget reasons, but it worked so well because that's a film that I also couldn't imagine in color. I really couldn't. We got the remake in color, and guess what? It didn't work.
It didn't work because it was just a bad movie. It wasn't because it was in color. That's not fair.
Well, it was shot-by-shot remake.
It was also
Except
just
they showed
not a good movie.
The infamous shower scene. They actually show the stabbing, right?
No, I'm pretty sure they still have like all the different cuts.
They still really? Okay.
Only one way to find out, Sergey.
I'm good. I'll actually just YouTube it, just that scene alone.
It's not good. But it is at the same time, it's a Gus Van Sant film, so it is experimental where it's like, hey, what if I were to just, shot by shot remake this? How would it turn out? The results, not good.
Is it at least set in a different time period?
I forget. I saw it 5 years ago. I forget, to be honest. It might still be in 1960. I believe it is. Yeah, the reason why I was asking Marv about like how you watch this, because I know Sergey and we both watched it on 4K, which Sergey, I got to talk about it. So this 4K looks great, sounds great, but it's easily the worst packaging I think I've ever seen. Like,
they tried with the booklet, but
yeah, the booklet's nice.
What's wrong with it? I like it.
It's like 60 different pamphlets.
So may the power of Christ compel you, Chad.
Well, and also trying to get
that's the type of it was not a steel book, but that's the type of collector's edition I would buy.
Chad, make sure you fold it correctly. You got to get the letters correctly.
I've had a couple of times practicing.
It doesn't matter. It matters actually which flap you fold.
Yeah,
it won't fit in the slipcover.
Speaking of steelbooks, I know Sergey's not a big fan, but watching his entire physical media collection, which guys be sure to check out on his YouTube channel, I was surprised how many steelbooks you had. I'm like, wow, he has a lot.
Yeah, surprising.
I'm like, this is
I mean,
impressive.
at this point, collector's items will only be in steelbook.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, unfortunately. Back to beat by beat story. By the time Kane gained control of his trust at the age of 25, okay. How about that transition? When it cuts to, you see Charles as a kid. It's his first Christmas with person that's watching over him, and the person says "Merry Christmas," and then it cuts to him saying "and a Happy New Year," and it's like a 20, not 20, it's like a 15-year time jump.
Yeah, that's a big.
I was giddy like a kid. I was like, that is amazing. That's such a great. That's so smart.
That's dope. That's dope. That is really dope.
Did you notice that, Marv? Like, was that something that kind of impressed you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't, like I said, I don't have anything negative to say, but that's a positive. That is definitely a positive. That was definitely smart. I love when editors do stuff like that. And maybe, you never know, this movie probably inspired a bunch of different editors that do stuff like that. But that definitely was a neat trick. I actually didn't know that it was jumping around from different beats.
Really?
Like not I didn't know, I wasn't aware about that until
When they're doing the interviews, when they're going back to tell the stories.
I didn't know that's how the movie was set up. I didn't know
Well,
that
that's why I said it's a puzzle piece.
You did say that, but I didn't know that that's what it meant. I didn't know that like they were going to go back and forth all throughout his life. So as I was watching it, I was like, "What is happening?" But it wasn't until we got to the scene with his his mom and his dad and Mr. Thatcher, where I was like, "Oh, okay." So we're just going back to back. It's kind of like, I don't want to say Memento, but it's kind of like like a smorgasbord of different pieces. You're just
This
watching.
is one of Nolan's favorite films. I will say this.
It makes sense. It makes sense.
And it pioneered nonlinear storytelling in American cinema. That, like, up until this point, you really didn't see it that often. I'm trying to think offhand of movies pre 1941 that did that, and I can't really think of.
Not American. Maybe some foreign films did it.
Yeah. That's why I say like in American cinema, because I mean I'm still going through international cinema from like pre 1941, so I don't want to speak out of turn, but I know for American cinema it was very big because up until that point, like the idea of a plot twist, that was something that was very new. The fact that defocus photography. This was also during the rise of, actually, I think this came out right before Maltese Falcon, because I know that was the film that like really kind of pushed the film noir genre into the heights. Yeah. But this might have came out pre Maltese Falcon, in which case this probably also helped inspire that genre. Lighting techniques, the mirrors, I mentioned that earlier. I was really impressed with that. I love the shot where he comes into frame and you see the mirror reflections, and for me that just kind of summed up the film as a whole, where it's like everyone sees him differently, and it's just like a reflection of who he actually is. He himself doesn't even know who he is. So I thought that was fascinating. Kane Articulates in the chat. He says, "Hello, what's up? Go Patriots."
Go Patriots.
Can Articulate, have you seen Citizen Kane? If so, share your thoughts. We are currently going play-by-play, a little bit different. I wanted to try something different because it's Citizen Kane after all, and I think it deserves us to talk about this like this. I mentioned about when he turned 25, the editing technique. I thought that was very fascinating with the transition. But they talk about how he's losing money. And how he's not really interested in it. And I thought this was fascinating because you could almost argue that up until this point, he didn't fully become money hungry. He was more so like, that, what's the term, wet behind the ears, where it's like, yeah, I want to try to do, good in the world. I want to try to make it better. I want to try to, get the word out there. I don't care if I'm losing money because I have endless money. But everything changes when there's the infamous 1929 stock market crash, and that left not only him but most of America short of cash, unfortunately. So I would like to argue that was a big moment in his life that kind of changed his perspective. But I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that.
The stock market crash?
Yeah, like, would you say that was kind of like what changed him as a person, or was there like an event prior or like after where it's like, okay, this is kind of when he had that like Walter White moment, if you will, where it's like, oh, he's kind of turned like full morally gray.
Not sure.
Is it when he ran for governor?
That's not. That's it. Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
That's what I thought that's when the shift changed.
Because that's when he finally tried to because he started out with he had idealistic goals, but as he went along this journey, he became more egotistical and more trying to feed his ego and his need for validation. And once he started that campaign, that's when everything went left after that.
Well, he's similar to Trump in thinking he could come in and save the day when the country is at its weakest and he has better ideas.
Yeah,
and Charles Foster Kane did get them into the Spanish-American War, and that's also something that was like shortly after the stock market crash, and that's what got Charles Foster Kane a lot of success ultimately, and is why he was then able to branch out even more with all the newspaper stands. But it's wild to think about like his life just in this perspective where it's like, wow, he really did do a lot. Jedediah, I thought the makeup for him in particular was like really good.
Was that the one who had like the bronzer on?
Yeah, he was the one that was like wanting like a cigar from the.
Oh, the first person they interviewed.
Yeah.
He was probably the best one of the three from what I remember.
Yeah, he was. I thought he had some pretty good one-liners too.
Yeah,
it was interesting to see their relationship unfold, especially when the second wife Susan kind of came into play. I want to talk about the first wife. That table scene, amazing, absolutely amazing. Marv, did you pick up on what they were doing?
So they were showing how everything started out. You're actually gonna get mad at. I don't even want to say it.
What?
No, I don't want to say it. I'll just go on what I was about to say. So I will say that they were trying to show like at first everything was all good, but then as time went on, it wasn't that they had any type of, it was a slow erosion because at first everything was okay, but then over time, his power and influence that killed their intimacy. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, the table going further back, and then instead of them asking questions during,
and there's no fallout. There's no you're the bad guy. You're the bad guy. Just over time, whatever type of feelings they had for each other, or what feelings she had for him, it just died because it was emotional neglect due to the fact that he had too much control.
Yeah, and I will say he was definitely at fault because she was like asking him like questions, and then he would get like over the course of that montage, he would get even more angry. Which there you go, montage. That idea of that was also something that Citizen Kane helped pioneer even more, I should say, because I know Battleship Pumpkin was something that really kind of pushed it, but that was like 15, 20 years prior. But yeah, I love that table scene. I remember seeing that at, was I 16, 17, and just being enamored with that. I'm like, that is so cool. Like it clicked with me immediately. I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, how did he think of that?
It's like the old times when, the days of the kingdoms with the kings and everything, they'd be sitting behind these large tables where they're like super far apart. It's like, What is the need for these tables to be this tiny?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a pretty good pickup too. Like you could almost think of him as someone that's becoming king of America, if you will, and that he looks at everyone else as like simply servants, serving him to try to better his ability to get rich quick, if you will. But
he had been saving money, like making money. Like how much more money does it need?
And that's just it, man. Like he had it all. He had it all, but the thing that he didn't have and it all stemmed from his childhood. In my personal opinion, is relationships. I mean, he didn't have that. He had that disconnect, and it's important to have relationships. It's important to have friends, to be with people, have like a strong system, because when things get tough, I know Charles Foster Kane didn't really have that kind of issue, but you still need people to talk to. You still need to be able to, articulate your
Hey, he
feelings.
could have been the most antisocial person and still been like depressed and upset with how everything turned out, even if he
Well,
wasn't Charles Foster Kane as we see it in the movie.
yeah, I mean that's the thing too, though. You could almost argue that he was antisocial, especially like his last, I would say, 20 years, because he didn't really leave his, Benedict. He stayed in. His second wife was just messing with puzzles, and he was just collecting stuff. He didn't really do much though after that. I feel like once his political career kind of got shot, it was more so just like saving up things. But yeah, he like again, I think his life would have been a lot different if he actually brought people in. But again, he wasn't taught that. Like that's something that he wasn't nurtured into doing.
But if he
So,
stayed with his family, he would have been messed up either way.
oh yeah, there's not. Again, it goes back to like how it's delving into morally great themes. There's not a right answer. I mean, he would have continued being abused by his dad. He would have been just like anyone else. Nobody really would have known him. Maybe he would have made it out. Maybe he would have made some friends. We don't know. But what we do know is that when he followed the American dream, when he picked himself up by his bootstraps,
Well, the American
Yeah.
dream did work for him.
It did.
well, he was empty. And that's one of the things that
Is that promised in the American dream?
Well, the promised American dream is, being like it making you happy. This film, though, and Scorsese, this is one of his favorite films too. Scorsese would tackle that idea in Goodfellas, Wolf of Wall Street, Casino.
In the
It's-
Wolf of Wall Street, he was happy.
Uh,
I would have been happy.
Not until Margot Robbie left.
Well, here's the thing. I would never did what he did, because what he did was very wrong. And I think he did it here in Citizen Kane too. Having, two wives and like that's not the way to do things. He had it made. All he had to do was stay with Teresa and everything would have been fine. And when he had the opportunity to get out, he would have been fine. No problems. He would have had his money and he can go off into the sunset. But
money,
his
money,
ego robbed him.
money does something to people, that Marv. Like
Hmm?
it does. I mean, even just the concept of it. I'm not gonna say who. Well, actually, you both know who, because we kind of had the conversation yesterday. But someone mentioned to me, we were kind of like throwing around the idea of $100 million, as we all had that discussion of, and there were several people that kind of question was asked, and they said that they would leave their significant other.
Word? Who said that?
I'm not going to say. I'll say off air. But my point is, money does something to people, man. Like,
No, that's just bad. I don't know. That's ridiculous. If you had 100 million, right? You even look what you said. You said you would fund your movie. You would split half with your wife.
that's $5 million though. The rest would go into.
No, but look, right? You said you're going to put it into your college, your children's college fund. That's the way to do it, right? Like, I heard a saying once. It says, money doesn't change you; it shows you who you really are. So I think that, look what you said. You said you would do this, this, and this. Aces. Nobody could argue with it. That whoever said they're going to leave their wife, that's crazy talk.
And
But-
husbands, wife and husbands.
Maybe they have some kind of plan where they're gonna on paper break up and then secretly meet up and get married again.
I think it's an interesting theory, Marv, but I also think that when you have so much that you don't know what to do with, and you don't really know who your actual friends are, like for example, that's why I said like I would give you guys money if I had $100 million, because it's like you guys were there, like you guys liked me for who I am. But everyone after that, like once you tell people you have money, it's like they're gonna cozy up to you and they're gonna try to get like a piece of the pie. and then it's like, who do you trust?
Well,
I don't want to do that.
do you consider yourself a loner?
No. I mean,
No,
look,
so
we're socializing right here, like the three of us. I definitely wouldn't
that
say.
doesn't mean you're not a loner. I mean, you go to the movies by
He's
yourself.
married.
Yeah, I'm
You still
married. I have.
you could be a
You know,
loner and be married.
I would not say I'm.
Hold
We're
up, Sergey,
redefining the word loner.
Do you consider yourself a loner, Sergey?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, so let's take Sergey for example.
Oh,
If
God.
Sergey had $100 million a year, right? And I don't, knowing Sergey, I don't think Sergey would just all of a sudden turn into, I don't want to do it, but he wouldn't turn into Trump. He wouldn't turn into like just some nihilistic douchebag. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Sergey would be Sergey just turned up to an 11, whatever that is. You know,
If Sergey all of a sudden gained 150 pounds and started wearing orange makeup, well, I don't know what I would do. I'd be fascinated. I'd be like, so
knowing Sergey, Sergey probably would get a nice home somewhere of his preference. I think that he might take our idea and build like a movie theater in his house.
I mean, I had that idea already before we even talked, but yeah.
Yeah. So I could see him doing that and probably doing some traveling. That's it. Like
oh,
like
100%.
you could just do that. You don't have to turn into some monster. You know what I mean? And
That'd still be working.
I would too.
I would not still be working. I would just make movies. I would just make movies. I would just make movies nonstop. You wouldn't still just make movies, Chad?
No, of course. I'm still making movies. I'm in post production for one that I've been working on for 2 years, and I just recently came up with
I mean,
concept for it.
so after Midnight Terminal, you would definitely still make movies.
I would, but the problem is that's something that's been on the back burner for so long that I wouldn't know what to do after that. And I understand that it's like, life comes at you and then life comes at you and then you come up with the ideas from there. But I wouldn't know what to do after that, to be honest.
Maybe what if that unlocks like your artistic expression to like new heights?
The thing is, I've told you the opening scene. Like I don't think it would go well. Like it's definitely going to be a divisive film.
But I'm not talking about how people will respond. So I'm just talking about like you personally. I mean, you don't care how people respond to things anyway. So
Yeah, no, I mean, I will say this. Yeah, if A24 picked it up, I would like remove Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb. I would just remove my phone and be like, all right.
Well, look at the director who did Resurrection. I mean, he made such different movies that nobody would be interested in. Only a very niche community would when he first came to be. And he still went and made more movies until someone picked it up and he found that community that loved his movies.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately such a small community because you and I, we both were fortunate enough to see Resurrection, but it didn't branch out. Like it didn't get like a wider release. I think the most was 100 theaters, but I'd be fine with that.
It's getting a Criterion release though,
which I'm so excited about because I'm definitely picking that up.
So that will get more eyes on it.
It will. And I hope that they watch his other two films because his previous film had like a 60-minute long take. And yeah, I mean, that's something I would love to do. It's just a lot of long takes. I just think it's fascinating because it's like, you have so many people coming together that have to make it work. And speaking of back to Citizen Kane, there are a lot of long takes in this film, and I think the camera movement is so precise. The ability of Wells just choosing all these different dynamic shots that say a lot about the relationship of the characters, I'm so fascinated by. Like there was one scene. Let me go back when you're seeing Susan, like her career take off, and you see all the different shots and they're like, cutting, and you see all the reactions, and it's like this isn't going well, but you see Charles Foster Kane is just so stuck at like making it work. His clapping during the one scene where he's just like continuing to clap even though everyone's kind of stopped. It's so good.
I'm surprised she still like didn't kill her career, even though she didn't want to continue doing it.
That's the thing, man. Like she, I feel like kind of realized that that's all she really had. Unfortunately, she had his name, and then she also had the fact that even though she was panned, it was still somebody new, or like, oh, this is Charles Foster Kane, this is his ex-wife.
So he was trying to mold her to be like him, just only known for his career.
And also, it's interesting seeing the women and how his only real, like his mother, he didn't really have a relationship with her, so he didn't know how to talk to women, how to deal with.
She was cold to him the whole time, and if anything, the father was, I guess, kind of more in touch with him.
Well, that's because he was putting on a front, because he was like the one that would always get drunk and like abusive. I think she was just cold because she was just kind of like fed up with, hey, I married a drunkard. Like she probably married him, didn't realize that he was a drunkard, and then after a week of dating and they married, it's like, oh wow, he's a drunkard. Now I'm stuck with this guy for the next 60 years.
No abortion clinics.
Yep, no abortion. Yeah, that wouldn't fly back then. And then on top of that, not much in rights, unfortunately. Just a lot to unpack. And it really, again, I always talk about nature versus nurture, but like this is a great example of that, how the two really did come together to create someone that some said was a monster, some said was a hero, some said he was a conflicting individual that just unfortunately never really saw what we all seek.
Curious how the parents ended up.
Yeah, maybe Marvel will do like a spin-off movie and we get to see the parents. Charles Foster Kane's parents will now will be in Avengers Doomsday.
They just show up to his grave and they're like, I knew we shouldn't have gotten those stupid sled.
By the way, I don't know if I know you've only seen the movie once, Marv, and you gave this movie I'm about to mention a 3 out of 5, but did the ending scene, Sergey, remind you of a certain Spielberg film?
With the fire and stuff?
Right before that, like there's a shot, like a crane shot where you see the entire warehouse and like you see everything.
No.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Okay. Well, yeah, the Top Man.
The last shot of that film is like it's a crane shot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how like the Ark is amongst all of this, and that was definitely a homage because of course Spielberg loves Rosebud. He loves it so much that he literally bought one of the I think there was like 3 or 4 sleds, like replicants. He bought one of them. So he loves the film, and it's funny that 40 years later he paid.
Oh, how popular was that sled? Did nobody like know that brand?
Oh, you're talking about like the one in the movie?
Yeah, I mean it was fictitious, I guess, but nobody knew what that was, I guess, at the time.
I doubt it. I mean, think about it. Like that was a sled that it was like a small town, middle of nowhere. It was probably from like a mom and pop shop. It'd be like if the last word I said was White House Station. Nobody would know.
White House Nation?
Yeah, nobody would know what that is.
Some kind of vegan.
It's a hot sauce brand.
Okay.
Nobody would know that though. Like maybe a few people in the area would be like, "Oh yeah, that's a hot sauce brand," but nobody would know. It's a mom and pop shop.
It's funny how people they're clearing out the house and they're throwing stuff in the firewood, and they clearly see that, and they're like, "Nope, they don't make the connection."
Well, I mean, we've both worked at warehouses. When you're throwing packages, you're not really looking at least I wasn't. Like I was just like throwing like, all right, last thing I'm doing.
That was a little more prominent than reading a package label.
Well, I mean, they're throwing stuff out. You're not really looking like, especially since they made it clear that this is the pile of stuff that we're selling. This is the stuff that's like junk. So they were just like throwing stuff in. So yeah, I didn't think anything of it. Like as someone that's works like that type of job, like I think you have too, Marv, right? Like working like packages and everything, like throwing. Man, that was not good times, but it was just I was like, how are these packages alive? Like not alive, but like not damaged. I don't know how.
I remember looking at some of the packages.
Really?
I was like, yeah, it'd be packages that would get stuck somewhere, and then I would like take them out and put them on the conveyor. I'm like, I got to read this person's name. They got to thank me that I just saved their package because they would never get it again.
Yeah, no, if a millionaire hired me, not a millionaire, if the estate hired me and was like, all right, throw this stuff out, I wouldn't be looking.
You wouldn't question why you're throwing it out. Maybe that you're involved in some kind of cover up.
No, it's not my. It's not. That's not my job to think. My job is to throw this into a furnace. So it's all about just knowing the job. Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess in another life it could be, oh, I threw out Rosebud.
You could have been destroying the Epstein files and you didn't even know about it.
Make a cool story. Oh wow, I was at that place. I threw that out. No, I really. But even then, even if let's say someone did say like, oh wow, this is Rosebud, would have made a difference. Like people would have been like, oh, it's a sled, but they would have known that it's the key to his
I mean,
childhood.
it would ruin the whole ending of the movie. But so.
Well, oh, you're talking about like
things,
before that?
No, I mean just in general. At the very end, reveal, it would have ruined the ending. I feel like it ending
Oh,
on this.
there's
Us knowing and everybody else.
They would have found. There's no way they would have found that. Like that. There was so many items. Like that's why cinematography is so important. They established.
The cameraman caught it. All right.
No, they actually did a really good job of. Because I was paying attention this time. Like, okay, do they reveal it at all? And they did a really good job of avoiding it. In terms of like, oh yeah, you see Rosebud, like you see the sled, but you don't see the name. But yeah, it's tragic. Kane Articulate says, haven't seen this film in a long time. I remember the great cinematography though. Yes. To this day, they still show it in film classes. As it should be. Bootzilla 74. Hello, fellas. I've only seen this movie once about 3 years ago, and I loved it. I definitely need to watch it again. Agreed. It gets better with each viewing, in my opinion. I finally gave it a 5 out of 5. For the longest time, it was Sergey's favorite rating of 4.75. But this time around, I was analyzing it like extreme, in depth. And then on top of that, I was just like, yeah, there isn't anything I would change about it. Like I was thinking about in the future. I'm like, this is definitely a film that I would, in terms of films that people are like, okay, what are films that make you love film? This would be one of them. And if people say, oh, it's overrated, I'd say, well, here's where I disagree. It literally changed cinema. Like the last 85 years of cinema, there are so many movies that paid homage to this film. So many. Like I mentioned how Raiders of the Lost Ark did. Let me pull up some of the other ones. Second, I'm on IMDb. This is what I love about IMDb. They have like films that reference it and vice versa. Well, Double Indemnity. That's one of Sergey and I our favorites. That film, that was an award that came out in 1944, so like 3 years later. That was also nonlinear, which was really inspired by that. Best Years of Our Lives. I don't think either of you have seen that, but that's a film that I loved it. It's one of my favorite of the 40s. But the way it's shot, the camera work, lighting techniques is a huge influence. Another big film from the 40s. Oh, no, that's not the 40s. My bad. Sunset Boulevard, one of Sergey and our favorite movies, which please tell me that made our top 100?
I have a question for Sergey.
I don't think it did.
Sergey, I have a question for you.
You're right.
Yeah.
So Chad just listed his top 5 movies. If somebody was to ask him what is film, and he gave his 5 for what those would be. What are your 5? Are they the
What
same?
are my 5 that changed? Like
that you think if somebody were to ask you what is film, what would be your answer? What 5 movies?
Depending on who I talk to, it'd be different because some people I'm not gonna tell them to watch these 5 movies because you got to ease them.
Just your if you just had to say to anybody like your ideal person who like if a person asking you like they were like into what you were into and you had to give them 5 movies that you thought like yeah this is cinema right here. What's your 5?
Lawrence Arabia would be on there because it's a very cinematic movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Godfather, I don't know if that would make it.
Really?
I don't think it would make it in there.
Okay.
Well, and to be clear, not to cut you off, sorry, but it wasn't just most important. It was like most important in regards to like filmmaking, the techniques, the history behind it, like analyzing. It's not necessarily like film the most entertaining film. It's the films that
Okay.
if you want to get into film as an art,
Okay.
these are the
So
five
I'm not
films.
trying to sell it to someone like they have to like it, but for them to just understand like what it
Yeah,
is.
like the importance of like how these are five
Okay.
films that you can study endlessly, and that there's not only a lot of history, but
I mean, I would agree with that list. I'd probably take out The Godfather,
really,
maybe. Yeah,
What would you replace it with?
I think like people knock some of the older movies down, but I think Metropolis is very impressive. I mean, it's not necessarily the most watchable movie because it's very lengthy, and it's a silent film. But I think that was a very great film ahead of its time.
oh, 100%. I
Like
mean,
it's just, I mean, this is what a 20s film that's addressing like androids taking over the world, and it's addressing like the hierarchy, our hierarchy, and the class systems, and it's just like I don't go back to that movie, but I think it's a really good movie, and it
oh,
inspired a lot of sci-fi films that we know today, including 2001.
2001, Blade Runner, Star Wars, Dark City, of course, Matrix. Yeah, no, that's a good choice. See, Godfather for me, as you both know, I look at film as like a visual medium, and thankfully, Godfather is on this list. When you look at that cinematography, it's such a distinct look, and the lighting is so careful, and same with the shadows that
Mhm.
to this day, I don't think there's another film that came close to matching that. Maybe Apocalypse Now, which ironically enough is done by the same director. And I know it's kind of cheating where it's like, oh, you chose two Francis Ford Coppola films, but it's one of those things where Apocalypse Now, which we already talked about, that kind of changed me as a person. Like when I watched that film, I felt as if that film had just came out, the way it looked and everything, like the cinematography, just the way that they moved the camera, and the fact that when you're watching it, you don't think about the fact that it was hell on earth with that set. When you realize that, it's even more of a miracle, and it's again also five films that were shot on like location. Um, I know Marv doesn't like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but that's a film that to this day they're still analyzing how they shot it. It's insane how they did it. So, Marv, what are your top five? Let me actually the full thing that I wrote down because I know Sergey answered. Sergey replaced Metropolis, replaced Godfather with
Godfather,
Metropolis.
Metropolis.
So, Marv, specifically when it comes to filmmaking techniques, history, analysis of the most important films of the 20th century, five films. Go.
I would say I want to be careful. I would say number one is The Exorcist.
Okay, that's a good choice.
I would say just because it's not only is important in what it did for pop culture and and like what it did for history and film. It's the greatest horror movie ever. Masterpiece, perfect. It's literally perfect.
You
From
already know, Sergey.
I already know.
hold on, what is it? He doesn't like it?
Halloween.
Oh, okay, maybe something else.
Oh no, I'm not putting Halloween. I wouldn't put
Okay.
Halloween.
What?
I won't put Halloween. I If we're talking about what he just mentioned as far as analysis and film techniques, stuff like that, I can't put Halloween because
Okay.
even though I think Halloween is a top five movie, just throw this out there, I think Halloween's better than this movie. Just throw that out there really quick. Halloween is essentially it has kind of bad acting, if I'm being honest. So I can't really put it. They kind of, I don't want to say fail, but it's part of the charm with Halloween. So I can't put Halloween.
So
The
wait, what's
Exorcist.
this other horror film then?
Who said another horror film? I just said The Exorcist. I was just going on about The Exorcist.
Oh, what's the second one then?
I was thinking, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to just say it anyway. I would put Bowfinger. I would put Bowfinger. I would put The Prestige.
No. Well, Prestige is 21st century.
Oh, okay. That That makes everything easier.
Bowfinger, I think, came out 1999, right?
Yep.
Yes, that would count. Okay, well now I'm even more excited to watch Bowfinger.
So I'm at 2, right?
Yeah, you're at 2.
3 more.
It's a tough question.
No, it's not. It's not. I want to say, even though I've only seen it 2 times, I'll give it to Back to the Future.
Okay, it's a good choice.
And two more. I want to do it, but Sergey will be mad at me, so I'm not going to do it.
Do not put Blair Witch on here.
I wasn't going to do it, but I was like, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it for Sergey's sanity. I'm not going to do him like that. All right, I got what? I got 2 more, right?
You got 2 more.
Okay, hold on. Let me think really hard. Important. Oh. All right. I got 2 more, right? But you guys can't get mad. The first one, I'm going to go with Boys in the Hood.
Okay.
And the 5th one, I will go with Scream.
You had me with Boys in the Hood, and then Scream. You kind of lost me. I really like Scream, but
I see that's the difference. I love Scream. I think Scream. I've always thought since I was a child that Scream is a masterpiece. It's awesome.
to be fair, all 3 of us do like Scream. Like it. I think it made our list, didn't it? Yeah, we
really?
gave. Yeah, it's yeah.
Right.
So it made our list. So it's definitely one. Okay. Yeah, like Boys in the Hood. I can definitely see why you would choose that. I mean, that was a groundbreaking film. I mean, John Singleton was the youngest director to get a Best Director nomination.
You have to understand that whole process. Like John Singleton, how he made that movie. They were going to just go get some guy to make it, and he says, "I won't sell this movie to you unless you let me do it, or there's no meeting. I'll leave." He actually said that, and they
Right.
liked it so much that they greenlit it, and they just said, "Go ahead, kid, go do your thing." And he did it, and it made history. And I never forget when I first saw it about 20 years ago. I was just like, "Wow, this movie's good," because I could relate to it. Not that I live in like the worst of conditions or that I ever did. I mean, I did once, but just I've known people that way. He was able to capture it so authentically. It was it was so immersive. Naturalistic acting and dialogue and really good cinematography. I thought. I
And it's
love
going to
that.
look even better now that's part of the Criterion Collection.
But I love that movie, and I think that movie does get its flowers, but it doesn't get its flowers enough. I don't feel like not in the film bro crowd. So I always will stand up for it. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it.
That should be your first Criterion pickup, Marv.
Probably. I love it that much. It's a really good movie. It's fantastic. As a matter of fact, I picked Scream just because I just feel like Scream is it's a perfect movie. I think. I don't know. I laughed, but I'm just like it's a real shame that it doesn't command.
No. Sergey and I both really enjoy the movie. I wouldn't exactly put it as like a film that, hey, the history of film, analyzing and everything. I like
For
when I
its
watch that.
genre, it's that.
I would replace that with Night of the Living Dead or something.
I would
That would
not.
have been a great choice. That's a great movie.
I get why you would
Scream I
put it
like
there.
too.
I get why you would put it there, but I would not because I actually like Scream over Night of the Living Dead. I don't like Night of the Living Dead. So,
Wait a minute. Do we have Night of the Living Dead on this list, right?
yeah, we do. I'm going to watch it, but I just don't. I just never really liked it.
I put Invasion of the Body Snatchers ahead of it too.
I like Scream better than those movies. That's why I put it there.
Wait, Marv, so you have or haven't seen Night of the Living Dead?
I have seen it. I've seen it, but I like Scream better than that movie. And I feel like
Scream is really pushing 20th century.
But it's still 20. It's still 20th century. It still made the cut. It made the cut. I will pass down Scream until they put me 6 feet under.
I should add Memento to the list.
You should.
Well,
no, you can't. It came out in 2000.
They filmed it in 1999, so it still counts.
If you add Memento, I'll add Blair Witch Project.
Wow.
As
an honorable mention.
I'm gonna be in the middle with this. Both were huge especially for indie cinema.
Fine, I'll
don't
pick. I'll pick one from the 20th century for Nolan. Following.
I like Following. I need
That's
to
like
rewatch
the
it.
early versions of Memento, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely like an early draft of Memento, but I look forward to talking about Memento and getting Marv sitting him down, being like, Marv, listen.
Oh, he hasn't seen it?
No, he shut it off like 25 minutes in, I think, something like that.
What? That's crazy.
It's my favorite Nolan film. Yours
Yeah.
too, I know. Well,
Yeah.
it's a great film, and full circle. That film was definitely inspired by Citizen Kane, but again, he made that film feel so fresh with what he was able to do. By the way, Godzilla says it really is great filmmaking. I used to hear about this movie all the time when I was younger, and it was an almost unanimous number one movie of all time in the 90s. Yeah, I think it was AFI's number one film of the 90s, if I recall correctly. I mean, it's a film again that you can analyze to death. I mean, I didn't want to get copyright, on our videos, but this is one movie where I would have done like a scene by scene analysis, because I just think every scene is so rich, and just like one man's life, you can't, condense into 12 minutes. This movie, my love for it, I can't condense into a 90-minute live stream. Just can't. That's one of the reasons why I keep coming back. Oh, Marv is out. Wait, let me see if he messaged me. Nope, not yet. He'll come back. But I'm glad that you really liked it, Bootzilla. Just such a great film. Sergey, you watched it on 4K the other day, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I
you said that.
Realized that it had 4 discs.
Yeah. It's funny too that this was the film that got them into 4K, like Criterion, because prior to this, they were just doing DVDs and Blu-rays. So it's kind of fitting that this is the film that got them back into doing a new medium. So,
and it got a slipcover. That's pretty rare.
Yeah, and honestly, that's also what I love about Criterion, is that they're they would never just have it like this. That they're always going to have their slipcover, because they kind of have to with
they tried a little too hard with this release.
With this
Actually, we didn't mention the fact you didn't have to do it, but I had to break the disc in half because they made a mistake in printing.
Oh yes, yeah. Their first run, they messed up.
I mean, they were nice about everything, and covering the charge and everything, and sending a new disc,
and a $10
giving a gift card and stuff. So, I mean, they were good about it, the whole thing.
Yeah, I did not break the disc. I sent back. They sent me the replacement. I was like,
when else will you get a chance to break a disc?
That's the thing. I don't want to. That's why I was like, I'm good. I was like, you guys can do with it with what you go. I'm like, I'm out. Oh, by the way, Bootzilla says it's a 3 film pack Criterion with Boys, Baby Boy, and Poetic Justice. If you like those movies, Marv loves Baby Boy. I forget about Poetic Justice if he likes it, but he loves all 3. I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't put Baby Boy on his top 5. But I would say Boys in the Hood is more important. But
I'm surprised it's not in the top 100.
Me too. I think he said he forgot about it when we were doing the collective time. But it's a nice. That seems like a nice box set. But I don't know if I'll pick it up.
I have not seen any of those movies.
November, you will. I'm sure you'll probably watch them now.
Probably.
Or July.
Yeah.
Bootzilla, I like Boys in the Hood, but I will always prefer Menace to Society over it. So this is terrible to say, but I have not seen Menace to Society yet. I've been meaning to, because I know it's part of the Criterion collection, and I've heard amazing things about it. Sergey, have you seen Menace to Society?
No.
If Marv was here, he would get on us, and understandably so. Brazil also says, cannot wait for you guys to talk about Memento. It is Nolan's best to me. Hopefully you guys do it justice. I'm hoping so, man. I mean,
You got to do everything in reverse.
I was going to say.
The live stream is the beginning.
Going to spend.
All right, guys. Well, I'll see you next week.
That's a film that the rewatchability value on that film is endless. Anyone that says differently, I gotta just respectfully disagree. I'm gonna save some of the details I picked up on other viewings, but I am excited, Bootzilla. And Sergey, I know will have a lot to say because it's in his top 4. It's in my top 50. That film changed me as a viewer. It's amazing. It's an amazing
Chad
film.
secretly has tattoos that we don't know about.
It's funny. I was telling my coworkers because they see my desk and I just have like sticky notes. I'm like, listen, if I wasn't scared of tattoos, I would literally be like the guy from Memento, just like tattoos. Like, remember to eat breakfast. Remember to jog 3.5 miles.
Remember, you're vegan.
Wait a minute. This whole pie. Yeah. No, I love it. I found myself really being able to relate to that character, even at like 16, 17. And I'm like, I'm going to do what he does and write stuff down. And all these years later, I still do that. Just haven't gotten to the tattoo part. I assume when I have dementia in 50 years or maybe 40, I'll do that. You are married. You have a job. You have a dog.
Marv is going to absolutely hate Natalie.
Oh yeah, he's unfortunately. I really do need to make polls of like if Marv's going to like the movie or not. I think Memento. I don't think he's going to like it because he's going to say I know exactly what he's going to say because I know I'm going to mention about how if you bought the DVD you could watch it in linear fashion, and I know Marv will be like, well, that's how I want to watch it, and it'd be like,
so the movie would be over in like 5 minutes.
Well, it wouldn't be as interesting.
No.
Because the whole point of the film is that you're following someone that can only remember things for 10 minutes. You're not going to have that feeling watching it in linear order.
It'll be 10 minutes.
Yeah. Actually, it's the same length. It's just, I think I saw a couple scenes and I'm like, I'm not liking this. I don't like how this is flowing. It's not good.
I've never watched it that way.
Do
they say Lenny only once?
No.
Okay.
No, that's something will always be ingrained of saying Lenny like 50 times. Lenny. Bootzilla, yes, I remember that. I broke the disc too. I think or left it unprotected when I sent it back for replacement. Yeah, I wasn't gonna. Bootzilla says Menace is such a quotable movie. My college roommate was obsessed with it. He watches it almost every day for about a month. Does he know Marv? I highly suggest you guys watch it. It's on Criterion 4K also. Yeah, I that's one of the things that I keep coming back to. I'm like, should I blind buy this? And then I'm like, I'm not 100% sure. So I think I'm going to watch it first.
Is that something you always see on the shelf in Barnes & Noble?
I do see it quite a bit because it has like a very distinct cover. It's like, I think it's black and red, I believe.
Okay.
And there's like, it's like the red, it's like light hue in the middle of the cover, if I recall correctly. But yeah, I'd be going in blind. I really don't know what it's about other than it's, a film dealing with race, I believe. I think that's one of the films that American Fiction kind of tackled in terms of the character. Oh, Marv has entered the chat. Marv, you're back.
Hey, thanks, fellas. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. We were just talking about how never mind. We'll save it for Memento. Marv, Menace to Society. What are your thoughts?
It's awesome. I love it.
It's awesome. You gonna pick it up on 4K?
I don't know.
All right. Oh, here's that. All right. Swinging back around to Citizen Kane. We've talked about the ending. We've talked about the filmmaking techniques. How it's one of the top 5 films in terms of importance of the 20th century for myself. I think you said that as well, Sergey.
Mm-hmm.
Not for Marv. Scream. Any additional thoughts, guys?
I actually do have some additional thoughts.
Okay. Are they involving spoilers?
I don't think so.
Okay, I better keep this up then. Go ahead.
So I personally, I don't think that he, I think that he played his hand all wrong. I feel bad that he spent his entire life trying to buy what he lost because, and you said it, Chad, like if he would have stayed at the house, he probably ended up worse, right? I think what his mom did actually was a good thing. He just never got over it. He was given opportunity and he just never found his footing. But I don't really pity him in that regard. I feel as though you can't. I think that he did it all wrong. He started the newspaper. He did the newspaper right, and then like we said, he kind of like shifted when he ran for mayor. But why didn't he just keep it simple? Why did he let himself go off the rails? And we talked about a little bit about what we would do with $100 million. But when I see what he did, why are you chasing outside validation? Like, man, mind you, that's a broad question because everybody does it. Not everybody, but a lot of people do it. But my thing with him is why you had everything.
Well,
Why?
everything isn't enough for him because he's just putting his eternal problems aside and just keeping himself busy by just chasing the next goal.
And a lot of people do that just on a micro level. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I've met in my life who work so many hours, not because they have to, but because they want to avoid certain things that are going on in their life.
I can dig that. I can dig that. I can speak to that too. I can speak to that. I
And
understand.
also think about it. I will agree with you. I mean, I'll agree with what you were saying regarding how the mother did her best. Like in theory, it's good that she wanted him to have a better life. It's great. That was a great mother decision, in my opinion. I think it was very smart because it's like, do I want my son to potentially become rich, or do I want my son to be abused, continue being abused?
He could have come back. He could
That's
have
an
come back
easy
with the
option.
money and helped her out.
Well, and that's the thing too. They don't really go back to that, which to me says that he kind of lost touch with his parents and that he became his like a loner, almost with what Marv was saying. And I would even argue that part of the American dream is not knowing when to stop. Nobody really knows their limits. I mean, even in the Dark Knight, they say, "Know your limits, Master Wayne." No, once it's too late, once you make a mistake, that's when it's like, okay, you either learn from your mistakes or you keep making mistakes, and sometimes it snowballs. And then by the time you've made all those mistakes, it's too late.
All right. So can I? So do you remember when we had the free money, the pandemic money, right? During COVID.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So during that period, right? Me and all of my friends and family, not everybody in my family, but like we had like certain people in my family got a lot of free money. A lot of the friends I had got a lot of free money, right? So I was able to watch what was happening with them in their lives and how they used and abused it. I watched what I did when I had it, right? And I could attest to the fact that like when you have a lot of money and after you've used it and been frivolous, after a while you don't know what to do with it, right? So I can get how you could probably try to buy things to like make yourself feel happy. Or you could try to like, like for example, one thing that I did that I shouldn't have done is like buy like a lot of alcohol for different girls to try to like you know what I'm saying? Like I did that,
I
right?
don't, but
You
I
should
do.
have saved some of that money for the Atlantic City trip.
Nah, this was years before that. But like I'll never forget. One day I was sitting on my bed and I for like a good hour was depressed because I did not know what to do with the money that I had thousands of dollars just in my account. And after I had brought everything I wanted. I brought TV, clothes, shoes. I went on Trey, I went on like 10 vacations that year.
I remember. I remember because
Yeah,
we were
so
shooting in size. We were shooting in size there, and you're like, I got this vacation, this vacation, this vacation. I'm like,
yeah. So
yeah,
like
I remember.
I was just like what else do I want, right? But then
A
it became to
car.
me, huh? No, leave me alone, man. All right. So it became for me. I just wanted to just pour into people that I know that I loved. Like I wanted to just give experience out, like I've taken that with me till today. Like I think when you have money and I guess I've never had status, so I wouldn't know about that. But if you have money, like spend it with people that you care about, that you actually care about, not chasing people that you think you care about, people that you think like you back. Like you have to like have a foundation, like a real one. Like
So
you don't chase outside validation. You'll always end up disappointed when you do that.
what I did, Marv, with my money was I didn't do that. I put $100 aside, use that to buy 4Ks, other stuff, and then I put $1,000 in my savings, and then the other 1,000 I used to pay off my car and a couple other debts I had. Boom.
Yeah, I think the
And I'm sure
first
Sergey
stimulus
probably did
check,
something similar.
the first stimulus check I blew on the stock market, unfortunately,
Oh,
and the
really?
second stimulus check I did invest and into another fund, which was fine.
Yeah.
It was all towards investments, whether they were successful or not.
Marv, what was your point though with all that?
My point was that I just feel as though he didn't have to die. It didn't have to be a tragedy. And I feel as though he wasted his life trying to buy things and buy people and feed his ego when he could have literally just, you know, lived a comfortable life and poured into himself and others that genuinely cared about him. Like his first wife, he could have poured into her. He didn't have to chase outside validation. He didn't have to care about being admired. If he could have poured into his wife, they could have did some traveling. He could have, done things that was important to his heart. But he fell in love with,
I do want to counter them, Marv.
Go ahead.
Something that's because I'm about to counter. So humans are self-destructive, whether it's intentional or not. Humans are self-destructive.
But you have to have self-awareness. You are
Well,
right. They are
what I
self-destructive.
well, I wasn't finished.
You do it to me a lot.
What I was gonna continue saying is that it's not just about decisions that can be self-destructive. It's also that at some point your body will get cancer or some type of thing, and that's literally your body doing it to itself, and that's something that you can't change. So whether it's internal or external, it's something that happens to us all. And I think that's one of the things that Citizen Kane handles so beautifully is that no matter what he would have done, he wouldn't have been happy. He could have laid low. He could have just, been hanging out with his wife and going to parties and making her happy, but he still wouldn't have been happy. He still would have been a person that, has regret for the childhood that he didn't have. So that's just my perspective.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. We all outgrow childhood. Get over it.
Well, some people can't though. I mean, like childhood's something that people think about. I mean, I think about mine from time to time.
I think about mine, but it's over with.
Well, but that's where self-reflection comes in. It's an important trait to have. And I mean, if you think about it, in the 1940s, they didn't really therapy wasn't something that was looked highly upon. So it's something he couldn't really, go to that. He didn't have any friends to really talk to. So
yeah, and I'm sure there weren't a whole lot of movies that he can watch that would teach him a bunch of life lessons.
That too. That's also a good point.
But life is the best. Life is the best teacher. And it seems like he was
know that.
blind
He
to all the
doesn't know
teachers.
that.
You said what?
We know that. He doesn't know that.
Isn't that his fault?
How is it his fault that he doesn't know it?
He's not paying attention. He's so busy chasing, he's not being present.
Well, on one end, he was very successful and he died. He did all he could do. It's just his inner happiness. But nobody even knew that he was unhappy. I mean, his wives, I guess, kind of guessed it, but he did everything. He ran in politics. He had all the money. He had his own private land, and I mean, he was successful. I mean, what more could you want?
I think this is the time where I go back to everything, everywhere, all at once. And I don't remember his name, but the dude, Michelle Yeoh's husband in the movie. That one scene where he says, I could have just been with you. Like something so small as like they were in that reality, they were, you know, she was a movie star, and I forget what he was, but
Mhm.
he was saying, I wish that I could have what they actually had in the beginning, which is them alone in a laundromat. That alone would have been enough for him in that reality. And that's where they started and that's where they end up. That's like it's the little things, it's the simple things.
But
But
He
they
that's
kept
grew together. He was already kind of like an outcast before he even met his wives. They didn't really have a real relationship. He was already
and
damaged.
I also just want to counter, and this is just it's not even just America. This is just in general. It's always do the next step. It's always there's America is not the country where they're like, yeah, so like you're good, everything's cool. It's oh, when are you gonna have a girlfriend? Oh, when are you getting engaged? Oh, when are you getting married? When are you having a kid? When are you having a second kid?
so
Whenever
you're
grandchildren.
talking
There's
about external
always
pressure. I'm literally fighting against that. Why do you have to succumb to external pressure?
I tell you that all the time. I always tell people that life's a marathon. It's not a 5K. I always tell people that, but the reality is what you and this is what I love about films. I feel like films showcase this the best. Sometimes what someone says and what they do don't always match. That's something that happens with a lot of people. I'm susceptible to that sometimes too. It happens.
Yeah.
But that's human nature. That's just it's human nature.
So if you died right now, will you feel like you are in your inner self, you are unhappy?
I mean, I deal with depression, anxiety all the time, but am I happy? Yeah, I would say I'm happy, but there are some days that are better than others. And you could look at me and say like, oh, he has an amazing life and everything, but it's still something that I deal with internally.
I mean, you already answered it. You said you would die happy. You know what I'm saying? You value the things that are most important to you, and they keep you afloat. Everybody
Yeah,
has their demons.
yeah, but I'm also talking like today. There are some days where it's worse. It really just depends. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I'm glad that I've you guys as a support system and my wife and like my other friends. But no, I mean, there's just it's a constant battle. I'll tell you guys after the live stream, but it's
It's one
yeah,
battle after
people
another.
quite literally. No, I personally believe humans just. I know you say that they're simple, Marv, but I think that they're complex because at the end of the day, everyone wants different things. We all try
That's
to collectively go towards one thing, as I mentioned, the whole charade of do this, 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 this. But we all realistically want like different things. I mean, think about it. That's one of the reasons why I love this live stream. The three of us, we all love movies, but we all love movies for different reasons, and we all look at different aspects of it. Like some aspects might be more important than others. That's what's great. It brings us together, and people can look and see our different views. And sometimes we agree. Sometimes it's like it makes for an interesting debate.
but is
We'll
that
save that for the
complex?
stream live stream.
But is that complex? I feel like that right there was just simple. Like we're just three dudes talking about movies, just offering our different takes on it. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Well, it can be because one of the things I love about a movie like Arrival is that it shows how how many things could be taken different ways. Like the way someone could text or the way that someone could hand motions or their eyes. Like someone might misinterpret that, and if the person doesn't ask further, it could create like a fight or it could create a rift. There's a lot to it, and it's one of those things where I agree about sitting down and like talking is important, but people are just so busy. They want to keep busy, busy, busy. And they don't want to have that. So I love that when
That sounds like they're over there. That sounds like they're making things complicated. A lot. Have you ever heard? And I'm
it's
sure
human
you have. Because
nature.
you tell me this all the time. That uh, certain things could be just like squashed with a conversation. Communication is key.
It is.
You
It
say that
is.
all the time. So if we just communicate, so many things will be fixed like that. Just clear communication, airing out grievances, clearing up
Well,
misunderstandings.
easier said than done.
I
I
agree
mean,
with
because
Sergey.
people make it harder than it has to be.
Well,
Yeah.
because people come from different backgrounds. Like
Mm,
I, for example, I could say something and it could be like a question, and someone might think that it's disrespectful. But if you break it down, it's just a question. but someone
Well,
might say, well, the way that you said it, or how you said it, or maybe my body was
can I give you a scenario that happened to me personally?
sure.
So a couple of weeks ago, I went to a place called Max's Cheesesteaks, right? It's in the heart of North Philly, right? It's called the Badlands. We get there, we park. Uh, my cousin goes through the side entrance. Well, no, he goes to the front entrance. I go to the side entrance, right? Because I'm in my own world, whatever. I walk. Is a group of girls and a couple guys in front of me, right? So, like natural, like when you go to a place and it's crowded, you just kind of like, just like, oh, excuse me, sorry, blah blah blah, right? I did that, but they didn't notice because they were screaming across the street to somebody who was in a car, right? So under normal circumstances, they would have, oh, my bad, cool, whatever. But they weren't paying attention. So as I moved through the crowd, it looked as if I was trying to be rude to them by busting through. I was just trying to get by. I said excuse me and everything. They just didn't hear me. They didn't pay attention. So when I got past them and I was about to go inside the store, they were like, "You did all of that just to go to the store? You could have went that way. You could. It might have turned into an actual, real, serious confrontation." And me being me, I just was like, "Oh, my bad. I said excuse me, guys. I apologize." And then the girl was like, "Yeah, he did say excuse me." And she was like, "Oh." I was like, "Yeah, I mean no disrespect." I smiled, walked up to her, said, "I meant no disrespect. I was just trying to get by. I apologize. I don't mean no harm." Blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have been patient enough to handle it like that.
Yeah, but I understood where I was
And
at.
that's a good point, Sergey, because everyone's different. So
I wouldn't have said anything. I would have been like, I'm doing whatever. Like this entitled person just thinks that they do whatever they want.
But I
I wouldn't try
understood.
to add to the flame, but I wouldn't react.
I understood that. Let me diffuse this. Let me just tell them what happened. It was like a quick 20 seconds, well, actually 10 seconds, and it was like that. Oh, my fault. It was my bad. Yeah, my bad. It's all good. All
I mean,
good.
that's good on your end that you did that, but they're just a ticking time bomb. They're gonna just blow up on somebody.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I saw it happen, and that's why I try to like approach with a smile, like because usually what happens in that situation happens all the time. Somebody will be like, "Well, like out of here," and they start arguing, and somebody gets shot. So I was like, "No, that's not going to happen today." I just said,
right.
I'm sorry, Black Queen. I apologize. You know what I'm saying? I meant no
Is that what you
disrespect."
said?
Yeah, and she was like, and she smiled. She said, "Oh, it's all good. My fault." And da 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 da. And
Yeah, take
uh,
those when you're over there.
I wouldn't bring Chad there. I wouldn't take him over there.
I wouldn't go there. By the way, we have a couple comments, and then we'll wrap things up. Bootzilla, it's a darker version of Boys in the Hood. I always say Boys is like The Godfather, and Menace is like Goodfellas. Oh, interesting.
That's true. That is true. That's true, Boots.
I love my bestie Rel says, wow, what's this about? Oh, Citizen Kane. It's a 1941 film. It was pretty groundbreaking. Well, not pretty. It was groundbreaking, and to this day is very influential film. I would highly recommend it. It's a classic for a
Do you
reason.
think it's gonna hold the test of time? How do new viewers get into this movie?
Film classes, I would say. If they're not in the film classes, probably how I came across it, either like a
The
book like
longer we go further, the more daunting it is to watch something this old.
I don't know. I feel like depending on with where a person's at in their life, like I'm at the point now where I'll watch 1890s movies. So
Yeah, I know we'll watch it, but how do other people watch? Some people can't watch a movie anything older than 1980s.
they'll come across it. It really depends on if they're able to put their phone aside for 2 hours. But that's for another time. I love my bestie Rel Marv. Why do you think that?
Think what?
That's a good question.
What? Think
All
what?
right. All right, so that was our live stream for Citizen Kane. Next up will be Collateral, the Michael Mann 2004 film. It will be either next week or the week after, depending on the three of our schedules. I'm looking forward to rewatching because it's been almost 5 years. So
Yeah,
Do you
I think
even
it's been
like
that
the
long for me
movie?
too.
me,
I
yeah, I
love
really
that.
like it.
I love that movie.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about the filmmaking techniques, specifically the cinematography, because it's pretty groundbreaking. I know Marv's not a big fan of it. I thought it was just okay, but I'm looking to
What?
rewatch. No, I wasn't finished. Miami Vice. I might do a
I
doubleheader.
love Miami Vice.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh, heck
There you
yeah.
go again, man.
I might do a Miami Vice Collateral doubleheader. We'll see.
That's a great double feature. Just lying on my name.
I wasn't sure. I was like, I think he wouldn't, but it is a vibes movie, so maybe that's why. But all right, guys, catch us next time with that. Hopefully next Wednesday. If not, it'll be the following Wednesday. And you guys have a great rest of your day.